Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Great Black Speakers Podcast, where we connect through conversation. I am your host, Lawrence Watkins. I am the founder and CEO of Great Black Speakers Bureau. I'm also the president and chief operating officer of the Black Business School. So today we have a very special guest. I'm extremely excited about this interview. His reputation definitely precedes him. I keep hearing his name over and over again as someone that I needed to meet, and I'm so happy to have him on the show today. His name is Michael Roberts Jr., and Michael is the senior vice president of Roberts Companies, and he's also the CEO and principal broker of iRealty Firm. And today we're talking all about his trip and Dr. Boy's trip to Ghana, the return of the Royals, and we're also talking about how to create generational wealth and legacy through commercial real estate. So, Michael, how are you doing today, man?
Doing great. Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday to you. So let's just jump right into it. Can you tell the audience a little bit about what you currently do and how you've gotten to this point in your career?
Yeah, sure. I'm once again senior vice president of Roberts Companies. Been working for my family in an official capacity probably about 16, 17 years at the moment. I have a very diverse spectrum of experience working with my family business. We're involved in TV broadcast station, telecommunications. We used to construct towers, cell towers that would actually connect the signals for our cell phone usage today via through Sprint PCS. We also develop retail strip centers, mixed use buildings. We'll convert historical buildings into apartments, retail on the bottom. We've done some small residential projects as well, and hotels, hotel development. We'll go in, do our due diligence, acquire, renovate it. We may put a flag on it, which is like a franchise, a Marriott, Hilton, things of that nature. However, in over the last 10 plus years, we've segued into independent operations. We've come up with a way to actually independently operate a hotel, full service hotels, limited service hotels. So that's what I'm doing with my family business. I'm also a licensed commercial real estate broker. My firm, iRealty Firm, is both licensed in Missouri and Georgia. I'll take on clients and serve them in various different capacities, as well as different industries within commercial real estate, ranging from industrial properties to retail to multi-use or multi-family investment properties. You name it, I can sell, development and financial package consulting. So and it all kind of all ties together, everything, all the things that I've learned, the skill sets, things of that nature, you can kind of just apply to various different opportunities that present themselves to me.
Got you. So, how does one get into the family business and get into all of this? And what did that preparation look like for you to, start taking a more active role in the business?
Yeah, sure. Well, the first thing is you have to get good grades. When going through school, the rigors of education, there was incentives put in place to us that if you get good grades, you get rewarded. If you don't, they take the keys away, if you know what I mean. So that was kind of our first early lessons of you still got to work hard and you got to earn your keep, or you're gonna lose that opportunity, even with your own family. So going through that matriculation of the elementary through high school and college and law school and any other type of schoolings, we're the ones that had us. What people have to understand is it's not like our parents are sitting there taking the test for us. We still have to work just as hard as anybody else, study just as hard as anybody else. We still had to pass the exams and get through it. So by doing that, I think for me, the ultimate reward is just earning the respect of my family to give me and entrust in me responsibilities based on my past achievements. So as far as just getting into that door as a legacy to a family business, it's something that was definitely earned. And then once you're in, a whole new set of chapters and challenges present themselves to you or to me or anybody in my position that can relate to it. So that's pretty much how kind of the process of getting into it. But as far as working for the family, day to day, it's 24/7. We're still the ones that have to make sure our phones are on, and we have 24-hour businesses like hotels. People have to understand, hotels never close. They don't close. They're 24/7. You can get a call at any point in the day or night or in the middle of the night and deal with a front desk issue or even a structural issue. A pipe may bust and start flooding. So, you have to go into emergency mode and even, contacting making sure all the customers are good and safe, make sure your staff is safe, secure, have guidance. On the other hand, you're contacting and informing your insurance carrier. So there's a lot of different elements and things always at play 24/7. So, all the things that I've done in the past has helped prepare me for those things, to stay calm. And, it's when your business is doing well, cash is flowing, it's cool. But, it's the other side. It's those challenging moments that all that preparation that you've done in your past, really gets tested. So, and I have been tested, a number of times, and we're doing well. We're thriving and gotten through all the different past ups and downs, and we're excited for the future.
Got you. So, what comes to my mind listening to you speak, do you have siblings?
I do. I have yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please. Are they older or younger?
I have a twin sister and two little sisters.
Okay. Are they in the family business as well?
One of them is my twin sister is she is our general counsel. So she practices. She's our general counsel. She's kind of our shield that makes sure all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and so she does a great job with that. The other two reside in Los Angeles, California. My middle sister Fallon, she's an entrepreneur. To no surprise, she actually owns, operates Airbnbs out there, doing very well. Megan, my little sister, she's an entertainment attorney and does other various motivational, inspirational kind of operations and things to really help inspire people out there that may be struggling with certain things. And so she's fantastic. So we're all lawyers by training. A few of us practice, a few of us are more kind of entrepreneurial in the spirit. And so we all work together. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, we all the family business is deeper than just a business. If the business needed all of us, we would all jump in and do whatever is necessary to secure the business. So.
Interesting. So, and that's what I wanted to talk about, right? And I'm not a real big fan of the show because I haven't really watched it, but you see shows like Succession on HBO, right? And I read a lot of books about the Koch brothers, for example, and Koch Industries, and their private enterprise, where you had two of the siblings sue the other two back in the 80s, and it really just broke up the family, back then as well, right? Right. And I wanted to talk to you in regards to avoiding that drama, right? Because you mentioned it, you said it in terms of you guys are a family first, but then a lot of times you see, like, as families make more and more money and they remove further and further from the founder's generation. So I guess you're a second generation, family businessman.
Yes.
What does that look like for you in terms of staying together as a family? How do you continue to keep that family bond strong as you're growing this, massive enterprise?
Oh, you are absolutely right. I mean, I've seen some of those unfortunate circumstances, and I always have to still question the history behind their upbringing. If our upbringing, growing up in the church. I mean, my grandfather, great grandfather, Baptist pastors on my mom's side, and it gives a lot of foundational structure, so and morals. So those things are instilled in us. One thing that I do, I try to make sure when I'm communicating with my sisters is to do just that, communicate. Just kind of establish that foundation. Hey, look, no matter what's going on with us, we're siblings, we're family. So, there's always going to be sibling moments here and there. But under no circumstances should we allow anything like that to interfere with our business, and have a negative impact on our business. And we're all in agreement with that. So once again, your upbringing kind of keeps you in check. You will have moments. You'll have moments of emotion. You'll have disputes, arguments, things of that nature. We're human beings. But, I truly believe that the four of us all understand that, do not allow any of these things to negatively impact our legacy. Our legacy is what supported us today, to this day. We were fortunate enough to, by earning, getting good grades and things of that nature that I said before, the reward is, okay, well, we'll cover your tuition, or if we got through freshman year, Morehouse, Spelman, where we'll give you a car if you do well sophomore year, and then you can move off campus, just real, all those type of things keeps us grounded, and it reminds us that it's a fragile business. The market can crash. We're real estate developers, so when the big recession hit, we got hit just as hard as anybody else. But our foundation of our family kept us together, and we just fought hard. We just didn't give up, and it really kind of made us also identify maybe any weak areas that were present that we might not have been aware of at the time. So we've shored up a lot of those things, and so I'm 100% confident with our family business that we'll continue to be strong. And well, there's grandkids now, so on my mother and my father, they have 8 grandchildren amongst from the 4 of us in some capacity. So we're looking to them now. It's not just us anymore. It's not just about us. Any kind of selfish notions that might have been residing within us or something like that, they're gone, because there's all these little kids and babies running around. It's like, okay, well, we definitely got to make sure this works, to ensure that they're good and that they continue, and they're watching us. So we got to set a good example for them as well.
Got you. And I want to get into a couple things in terms of, I want to talk about HBCU stuff.
Yes.
I want to talk about succession planning, and I want to talk about getting into complex industries like telecom and other things, and what has been your experience on that front. But before I do, just as a reminder to the people who are just tuning in, I'm here with Michael Roberts Jr. Michael is the Senior Vice President of Roberts Companies. He is also the CEO and principal broker of Realty Firm. Today, we're talking about how to create generational wealth and legacy through commercial real estate. So if you guys are feeling this content, please go ahead and show us some love by pressing the thumbs up button on YouTube. The more love that you show us, the more love that YouTube's algorithm shows us. So more and more people will be able to watch this content that we're producing today. Also, make sure that you share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And that actually, as a matter of fact, on the count of 3, if you guys can press the thumbs up button on the count of 3, that'll be great. So 1, 2, 3, press the thumbs up button, show us some love. We really appreciate you for doing so. All right. So Michael,
HBCUs.
I want to talk HBCUs. That's the first thing I want to talk about.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So how many of you guys went to HBCUs for undergrad?
2 of us out of my siblings, 2 of us went to HBCUs.
So Morehouse and Spelman. Was it you and your twin sister that went to Morehouse and Spelman?
It was, yes.
Okay, yeah. Got you. And where did the other 2 go?
My Fallon, my middle sister, she went to USC, University of Southern California in Los Angeles. And Megan, my youngest sister, she went to Pepperdine University, undergrad. Got you. And you went to Pepperdine for law school, right? Yes, actually all 4 of us did. Oh, really? Okay, yes. Okay. Now, what is the connection with Pepperdine? I'm just curious now. It is interesting. Actually, my aunt Crystal Gore, she's my mother's sister, a younger sister of hers. She actually went to Pepperdine undergrad many years ago. So we always kind of heard about this Pepperdine school growing up. So she actually is the original person that kind of broke through that door. And then as we came of age, there's no secret, Pepperdine has the most beautiful campus in the world, right on the ocean. Yeah, that's what I hear. On the mountains of Malibu. So a lot of people want to go there just based on the location. However, Pepperdine happens to be an incredible school. I mean, the diversity, the caliber of the staff and the professors is top notch. And of course, the environment can't hurt either. It's a nice, relaxing, beautiful environment to learn in. But I can't say enough about the staff and actually our my old torts teacher back in law school, Professor Jim Gash. He just became the president of the entire university. So he just got sworn in this year. We're really excited about that. He's an incredible leader. And he went to Pepperdine Law and all that stuff back in the day, his kids and wife. So, you know, we although that we have our own kind of Pepperdine legacy going, you know, those that we actually learned with are deeply rooted in Pepperdine too. It's truly a family. It's a very deeply rooted family. I encourage everybody out there applying for undergrad or graduate school to consider Pepperdine University.
Cool. Well, that's great. But I want to talk about Morehouse and Spelman.
Yes.
Let's talk about Morehouse and Spelman. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So
Yes. Let's talk about Morehouse. I can't even help it. Let's talk about the house. Let's talk about the house.
All right, let's talk about Morehouse.
I'm a true Morehouse man. So, you know, we have to get down and deep with that.
How did Morehouse shape you to the man that you are today and prepare you to run your company that you're running as a family?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I remember coming home after my freshman year for the summers, and you know, I went to my mom. Something came over me. I went up to her and said, "Mom, you know, I feel like I'm a man now, you know." And she was like, okay. And that's what it does. See, when you're coming out of high school, you're still a teenager. You know, you're still young, you're still immature. So for African Americans and even beyond our state line, our country lines, you know, because Morehouse attracts people from all over the diaspora. But in my opinion, could really consider a HBCU, because what HBCUs do, like a Morehouse, Spelman, Clark, Hampton, Howard, all of them out there, they nurture you. They challenge you and they nurture you so that you don't feel like you're just a number. You know, when you go into a bigger school too early, too soon, you just kind of become a number. You can kind of get lost in it, and you're not getting that nurturing. And what the nurturing does, it's actually a kind of a systematic approach to taking you from teenage mind to adult, like mature mind. And what Morehouse also did for me, it taught me how to, and my colleagues, how to work with the world, not to hate the world or, you know, have fuel those insecurities that we might have grown up with, or even through our own DNA from our past. It also teaches you about, you know, how to be a leader. Another thing, they had classes in Morehouse that were required, like, for example, etiquette class. Like you can't even graduate without passing etiquette class. So they taught us every spoon, every fork, every knife, every glass, the names of them and what they were used for. Those are the practical things that you actually use throughout your life. And people will sit there and watch you to see if you even know what a salad fork is, or a fish knife, and this glass for wine or water, or red or white. You know, all those things we use all the time. Another great thing that I really enjoyed with Morehouse and I use all the time is, just like us speaking right now, is they train you how to conduct presentations and structure slideshows. They also teach you and train you how to do public speaking. Public speaking is, if I'm not mistaken, either the number one or two most feared thing in the world. So that nurturing, going back to the nurturing kind of approach with the HBCUs, they know that, and that's why they really focus on those really foundational skills, because they know you're going to use them. And they also know people are going to, they know that people are watching us. They're watching to see if you have any type of class, skill set, if you know how to speak, if you know how to present. Those things have done wonders for me in the business world. As you can see, I still have a youthful look. I'm 41 years old. So when I'm in a boardroom, they're sitting there barely listening to me because I look like I'm, 18, 20, 25 years old. So, but, by presenting in a certain, articulate, educated way in that manner, and it kind of diffuses that assumption, and then it's impactful, to the actual purpose of whatever you're trying to achieve in that presentation. Basically, you're trying to get the deal done, right? So all those type of skills with HBCUs, the social, yes, we have top-notch professors in the HBCUs. Morehouse in particular has arguably, some of the best in the world there. But the social component is just as important, and they know that. There's a reason why those schools and AUC are all next to each other. They want us to socialize with each other, because when you get out of school, a big percentage of business is a social component. Example, networking. Networking events is everything. When you go to conferences is where deals are done. But a lot of times you're moving around, looking at different displays and booths and things of that nature. But a lot of times you don't really get a moment to really get to know some of these potential clients or maybe future partners until you're at the networking events thereafter. How do you conduct yourself? How do you hold your glass? How do you fold your napkin? How do you present yourself properly? If you don't drink, you still should get a cranberry soda. It's all those different things on the social component. You may end up meeting your future spouse at these HBCUs.
Did you meet your Did you meet your spouse at Morehouse?
I didn't meet my future spouse while at Morehouse. I met her probably about 4 years later in DC at a black tie event at I think it was NABOB, National Association of Black Broadcasters kind of event.
Gotcha. Yep.
There, but check this out. She is a graduate of Hampton.
Uh-oh.
So Morehouse and Hampton united, and I always heard about the beautiful people up there in Hampton. I didn't get a chance to get up there, but as soon as I found out she was from Hampton, it was an immediate oh wow, this is great. That means we have something in common, and we dated. And then we got married. We've been married 10 years. We have 3 beautiful children, 2 daughters and a son, all birthed from 2 HBCU alumni. So it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And, I hear that a lot from just, I interview people from Howard, Hampton, FAMU, Morehouse on this channel, and they all have that pause when I bring up the topic of HBCUs, and they seem like they go into another place to, really just think through how the experience has changed their life, and usually in some type of drastic type of way, in a good way. Yes. Right. And, this was no exception. I just really wanted to bring that up in terms of, our HBCUs are often marginalized and aren't really shown the respect that, that they're deserved. And I just wanted to see, from, someone who is, I guess, I don't know to call it black. I want to talk about this black elite piece too, in the rooms that you're in, and what you think about that particular type of concept as well here in 1 second. But, someone who comes from that type of background, there's my legacy back there making, doing a little crying. But yeah, I just really wanted to, see, your thoughts on that. And, that's a good segue to talking about these rooms that you're now in. Right. Yes. So, you guys have made, many millions of dollars, have, billions of dollars of investments all over, the world. Let's talk about those rooms, because you talked about a lot of just things that help you in those rooms, that if you were talking to I don't want to say a black nationalist, but if you were talking to someone who was just, just hardcore, fight the power, there's man, F learning how to use the right wine glass and, trying to fit in and, do all these different things. But that's something you said is a valuable skill set for you to learn in the rooms that you're in. It's kind of expected to, to a certain degree. So I just want you to talk about all of that, right? In terms of like, what are these rooms like that you're currently in as the senior vice president of this really big company? And then also, do you feel like you are, I don't want to call it selling out because that's not it, but like not the authentic, true you when you're in these rooms? And what are you doing about it, whichever way that you fall in that conversation?
Well, first of all, the rooms are filled with what? Human beings. That's the first thing. Regardless of where they come from, they're human. There's not a bunch of robots in the room. So when you're in the room, it's already established that you're in the room for a reason. You know, there's no real purpose of sitting there trying to puff your chest up against one another. It's just really just a very just focused business environment. So when you that's the importance of getting that training in school. You're doing case studies and you're doing mock trials and mock business meetings and networking events and stuff like that. That's just basic streamline like decorum in business. It has nothing to do with race. That's just the way that's the way business is. So when you're in these rooms, to be honest with you, you know, gender, race, and other things usually are secondary, because by the time we're getting in those rooms, those boardrooms with CEOs and principals and attorneys and all kind of people all in the room, we're already there for a business purpose. So, you know, if you have the training and experience, you know, working your interns and then after college and so on and so forth, it's really just a very normal and consistent environment. So, but when I am in rooms with some of the big wigs from time to time, what I find even with them is that there are a lot of times they're a lot more humble than you would think. You know, and I think that's a lot of reason why they are successful. A lot of these people, they're very intelligent. You know, they listen first and kind of speak later. They surround themselves with people smarter than them, which I found is pretty wise. But, you know, there is, like I said, this is basic, just business etiquette, business decorum across the board. It does not matter what you look like or if you're female or male. It just doesn't matter. It's just when you're trained, when you're educated, when you have some experience, all of that is at play when you're in a business meeting or in these rooms. No matter how elite the person is in there, there's just this basic foundational business etiquette and decorum at play. And once again, Morehouse College definitely instilled that into me.
Got you. But a lot of people are intimidated in terms of going into those rooms, right? Especially if you don't have a second generation pedigree, you know, as you do, right? You know, maybe some of your first generation college student classmates and others, they're like, man, like I'm, you know, scared out of my mind, you know, going and talking to the CEO of X, Y, and Z company or the CFO of this other company.
Yes.
So for
Definitely.
those who want to really succeed in those rooms, I understand, you know, the point of understanding that, you know, these are just people who want to get business done.
Yes.
But what other tips would you provide
Yeah.
for someone who has to go into these rooms?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you asked that. The first thing I would suggest is do your research. Just go to Google, read the background on that person you're about to meet with or people you're about to meet with. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people are caught up emotionally and kind of in their fear and nervousness that they forget to take the first step, which is doing your due diligence. You got to do your due diligence. And all that is doing your research. And the great thing is Google and other browsers, I mean, all the information is out there. So if you just simply read up or go to the company's website and go to their bios, if you simply just read those things, you're going to feel an instant level of comfort, because there'll be a time in the conversation that you'll maybe talking about a subject that may trigger a thought from your a page from the research that you did, if you will, or a sentence or something from what school they went to, or different types of industries they're involved in. And then it can start warming up the conversation with that person. which they love, like the CEOs and all those people. They already made their money. They're good, generally speaking. So they just want they like having those really kind of normal human friendly discussions, but they also are impressed when you do your research. But when you go into the room, take a deep breath, 2 or 3 deep breaths before you walk in to kind of calm your nerves a little bit. And then, like I said, a lot of times listen to what they have to say, and talk to their assistants too, like their secretaries, their assistants, that you might be able to kind of speak to. You can call them before, or even visit them, or take them to lunch. They appreciate that. A lot of times the people that have all the knowledge, have all the keys, are often forgotten, and they're human too, and they're very important critically. So that's another tip, talk to them, call them like, hey, I just want to prepare for this conversation. Would you, can we meet and speak, or can you give me a little bit of insight? Like, do your research, do your due diligence, Google, and then you'll instantly feel that kind of comforting feeling come over you.
Wonderful. No, I think that's some excellent advice, and I want to extend that in terms of talking about skill sets. The I guess core competencies that you've needed to develop and your organization has needed to develop to build this empire that you're currently building. But before I do, just as a reminder to everyone, I'm here with Michael Roberts Jr. Michael is the Senior Vice President of Roberts Companies. He's also the CEO and Principal Broker of Realty Firm. And today we're talking about how to create generational wealth and legacy through commercial real estate. We talked about a lot of other things as well, in terms of HBCUs, and just many, many things, getting to know Robert today. If you guys like this video, please go ahead and press the thumbs up button, show us some love. Also, make sure that you share this video and subscribe to our channel as well if you want to see more content like the one that we're producing today here with Michael. I want to talk about Robert's companies a little bit more. And I want to talk about first, you mentioned some of the industries that you're in. So if you can give an overview of just the different things that you're currently doing. But then I want to talk about if there's any type of core skill set or interwoven like factor or skill or whatever, or just thing that brings everything together in a unifying type of way. Right. In terms of like, is there like, for example, I know some companies that, are doing this complex stuff. It's all about systems and creating great systems. But for you all, what is that? So what are you currently in, and what's that? Is there a woven fabric, to what it is that you do?
Yeah, right now I'm more focused on the commercial real estate components, leasing and marketing retail space to attract tenants. Also construction components. So, if we go in and purchase a lot of times we like to, well, you try to buy low and sell high kind of concepts. We like value add opportunities. And what that means is, you want to get in at a good price. You really kind of make your money on the purchase, if you know what I mean, retroactively. So, we look for good deals to go in, but also value add deals. So we also look at the community that the building is in, and try to find ways that we can restore that building and bring jobs to that community. And we're very particular about creating jobs from people right there in the community. And that's where I think construction is a really easy place to do that. People that can help with demoing the walls and painting and mudding and taping and all those type of things. So, and then also when we find tenants, a lot of times retailers have a program to be kind of inclusive of making sure they hire people from the surrounding community for their actual retail. So, if it's like a mobile, PCS type company or just a restaurant or food and beverage or auto parts or something like that, I'm noticing that the bigger companies are a lot more aware of the importance of supporting the community with jobs. It just helps. So it has a tremendous impact in areas, because at the end of the day, if people are making more money and people are kind of rising out of poverty, crime rates go down. People are healthier. They can buy better food. They can go send their children to better schools and things of that nature. The neighborhoods just clean up. Everybody's just happier. So we take all those components in consideration always where we're going. And then and on the hotel component, I'm 24/7 overseeing hotel operations. So
How many hotels do you guys have?
right now we have a couple hotels. I mean, but we've bought and sold probably about 14, 15 hotels over the
Gotcha.
last
Okay.
15 years. So, real estate, it's just ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows. But the hotel up in Detroit that we have, Roberts Riverwalk Hotel, what I did was I created an independent operation system. So I interfaced cloud-based applications to speak to each other. So, you have the front desk system, the food and beverage system, you have the sales and events lead management system, and I've interfaced them. So always on my phone, always on my computer, I'm rate managing, responding to leads, responding to maybe customer issues, communicating with the OTAs, which online travel agents, which is like booking.com, Priceline, always communicating with them. So it's just a constant moving kind of components that are happening all at one time. But that's what I'm working on with the family business. With iRealtyFirm.com, I'll take on some clients from time to time just to keep those skill sets fresh. Tenant representation, where I'll go out and find vacant retail spaces on the market for them, negotiate the deal, just kind of help navigate and consult from A to Z, or list a property for sale. So, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. That's pretty much keeps me busy outside of having, 3 children and my wife.
Yeah,
So
I bet you that keeps you busy too, right?
yeah,
Yeah, 3
all about
children and a wife will definitely keep your schedule full.
yes.
I mean, so then, all right. So, what I heard then is that, a foundational thing is, finding those good deals,
Yes,
right?
it is.
For, what is that you're doing in the real estate industry. And then once you find those good deals, there's certain management systems and components that you need to put in place, to make sure that you can actualize on that particular investment.
That's right.
Um, Now that leads me to the question: what is the hardest part of your job? What is the most challenging piece of your job?
Well, obviously, that, that could be a multifaceted question, even though it's one question. Um, I would say really just kind of shuffling through all the opportunities out there, because there's a lot of, like they call them offering memorandums, where you have to read 100 pages of data and analyzing the data, and you could be looking at, probably out of 100 deals, you may just get 2 that you actually hone in on. And then after kind of like, okay, let's go after this one. Now you have to draft a LOI, or memorandum of understanding. You have to kind of work through some of the initial terms, and then you have to segue into, let's say it's a purchase agreement. You have to navigate and negotiate all those detailed provisions there. So it's pretty intense. And then you sign, but then you have to go through your due diligence period, which can be 90 days, it could be 120 days, it could be even a year. So all throughout that time, you have to be very patient, because all kind of things happen. During your due diligence period, you're also performing, let's call it environmental tests. See, telling all the audience out there, you have to do your due diligence. I mean, you have to budget some money to the side to make sure you're testing every component of that property, because you may find something that you don't like, or you may get stuck with if you don't do it. So environmental testing is called a phase 1. And phase 1 kind of gives you kind of just some basic idea of what environmental issues may be present. What I mean by environmental issues would be, is there mold? Is there black mold present, which can be very toxic, and it could be all behind the walls and the ceiling and the floor. Very dangerous stuff. I've definitely walked in a lot of buildings where I almost just passed out, just because it was like, boom, mold spores. and then you have radon and there might be storage tanks under the ground because back in the day there was a gas station there, and or there might be a lot of rubble and lead underground. And these things could be seeping into the water that's going into the building. So you can only imagine being stuck with all that, because you may not get your occupancy permit without digging all that stuff out. They call it remediation, which basically means removing these environmental components out of the building. So now that could kill a deal, or you can use it to leverage as a negotiating tool to bring your, let's say, your offer price down from what it was. So those things can be pretty challenging. And so you once again, you got to develop a really high level of patience for it, because I mean, on commercial deals, there's rarely a deal that didn't take 9 months or a year or a year and a half. And it may just fail. It just may not work out. So, and that's very common in the commercial world. And then even after you purchase the building, then what do? You're going to do, you probably might have a phase of construction. So you got to bid out the opportunity to all the various contractors. You got to vet them all out, go read through all their proposals, negotiate, et cetera. So then whoever you select, then you got to oversee the construction. I think we all know, especially those that have ever renovated their homes or done any flip projects, that you have to watch the construction folks until you build a good rapport with them. It can delay your project significantly and be very costly too. So you can even lose on that phase. You might bought it at a great deal, but then the construction stuff just really went south on you. So you gotta actually be in there. You gotta watch. You gotta oversee that. That has to get done. And then let's say you go into a press release, ribbon cutting, and all that type of stuff. So look how much I just said before you even get the project done. So I would say a lot of the challenges are there. Then you got to market the property. You got to lease out, let's say, the apartments or sell the condos, and you got to market and marketing alone is another just completely separate and vitally important part of the future success of the business. A lot of people don't understand how important marketing is. I mean, you should be budgeting at least 15, if not more, % of your annual budget to marketing, because you can build a beautiful building and it'll just sit empty because you think people are just going to look at it like, oh, I want to move there. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to market. You got to spend money, and get the tenants in. So just give you a little snapshot.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot that you're responsible for, right?
Yeah.
And what I heard is a lot of complexity, a lot of tedious activities that take a really long time to complete, and where you can lose your shirt at any step of the process. And that means you need a lot of patience and oversight. It seems like to be really successful in the commercial real estate field.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Yeah, and I want to talk about this deal stuff a little bit more. We've been talking locally, but I know that your father, Michael Roberts Sr., my brother Boyce, and a few other people, Pastor Jamal Bryant's another brother out of Detroit, I believe, the car dealer
Greg
ownership.
Jackson.
Yeah, Greg Jackson. And others just took a really powerful trip over to Ghana.
Yes.
And I want to talk about business opportunities and things that you are doing here and how it can relate to what you're doing over, or I guess what opportunities are over there in Ghana and the entire, I guess, African continent.
Well, all the reason we even create, my father kind of formed this business delegation and as part of the year of return to Africa, celebrating 400 years since when the slaves first hit the shores of America back in 1619, and now it's 2019, which I think is taking on a lot of tremendous momentum, which is a beautiful thing. But it's important that we, in order to really truly build a bridge, that we had business leaders go there and really dig into shoring up relationships with the local leaders there. And the politicians, as well as just the people in general, and making sure that we have their okay as well, and they get to know who we are. In a lot of places beyond the United States, relationships is first. You can go to Japan, for example, and it's not recommended you speak a word of business that first day or night. You dine, you get to know each other. Everybody kind of just gets a natural sense of each other, and then next day you can get on with business. So the same thing is, I would say, with Africa as well. Going in there and really just getting to know people, and everybody just kind of getting a feel for each other first. And so kind of starting with here in America, all this experience that we have, from car dealerships to operating mega churches to building commercial real estate, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We, my dad was very strategic in a nice diverse representation of entrepreneurship here that we thought could be critically impactful in Africa. So all 12 of us, whatever number it was, flew over there, and we were greeted by Princess Okansi in Accra, Ghana. It was beautiful. They greeted us with hugs and drums and all these. It was just amazing. But as we kind of got deeper into it, what we found was the most important thing was to really start building this bridge of commerce between America and Africa. So, one thing about the people there is they're very warm and inviting, and they're like, this is your home, and we welcome you and we love you. So you'll see little people.
Yeah, man, I love it. Yeah.
Well, my two daughters just got home from school, starting break now. So,
all right, cool.
Yes. So with that being said, our whole point here is to not speak the language of excuses or feeling sorry for ourselves. That's over. Going forward, we're going to speak the language of power, and making sure that we connect with each other. One thing I noticed that us African Americans, I could tell you, probably 100% of us still kind of have this feeling of disconnect. We can trace our ancestors here through this, when the slaves hit, Louisiana and Alabama and all those places. But when you kind of connect back to that, it's still a disconnect because, those people were brought here, so what was beautiful was that when you reach that continent and you're welcome like that, you get connected to home. I mean, just think about it. Those people were not brought to Ghana. That's literally their home. Like they go back, I don't know how long, thousands and thousands of years. So when you connect and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm the ancestors or survivors and things like that, but we came from here. So it's highly recommended that African Americans from the diaspora go there, or just a diaspora period, beyond the shores of Africa, go there and just touch the ground, and you'll finally have this sense of connection. And what it does to you, it just gives you this, it instills this sense of just warmth and comfort that comes over you. And then after you feel that, like, okay, found home, I know where I come from now. Now let's get to business. So now we're extremely motivated to establishing auto dealerships with them, bringing our technology, our real estate and residential development experience there. But one thing that's critically important to us is that we always were going to partner with local African companies. We're not going to be those people that come in there and just rip the natural resources out of there and just leave it to rot. That's not what we're doing. We're literally building bridges. So back to your question of what we're doing here in America and what we're doing there in Africa now, we are going to lift all the ships up as the sea lifts together. And we're going to make sure that we're all about wealth building. We're going to be all about wealth building, man, together. We're not We're not going to go in there and just, like I said, we're not going to go in there and just make money on the backs of our brothers and sisters there. We're going to actually partner with them. We're going to build really great relationships with them, and we're going to build wealth and future legacy. And there's a lot to learn from them as well. It's not just us going over there. We're learning a lot. We learned a ton of information and history while over there. So it's just really it's just a new chapter. It's a new chapter in our history. So we're really excited about it.
Yeah, we're excited about it too. Me and Boyce have had, quite a few meetings in regards to, what we want to do on that front, the types of partnerships we want to develop as well. And, I know you have to go, school time is out, but I guess I just have one final question. That's, I see your kids running in the background.
Yes.
What are you doing to prepare your children to take over the family business and that succession, planning as well? So what is the next steps for the Roberts family?
Well, the great thing is what's good about being a legacy is that I just have to repeat what my upbringing was like. I loved my upbringing, my sisters, my cousins. We had a good life, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. It's the way it's supposed to be for everybody. I know people have gotten cards dealt with them not in the right way. I get that, but even them, like with your children, just listen to people like myself and others out there. Like, try to reverse that. You got to reverse it, and put it into a positive light. You got to redirect that energy. You got to harness that energy and reject it in a positive light. But learn, listen to us. When we if you're really listening, you're hearing us harp on education. That needs to be number one foundation. You have to, school is very important. Don't skip unless you're a freak of nature, athlete or something like that, which I still think you should go to school. Don't skip over. Go get through college at least. It's very important. That's where you learn your skill sets to help you survive in business. So, just like my father did with me and my sisters, I'm just going to lead by example. I'm going to take them around with me. I'm going to make sure they're sitting right there next to me or in the background in the boardroom, just absorbing all that information through osmosis. So by the time they do get to college and graduate school, that it's just really more of a natural kind of transition for them. I'm going to continue to tell them every day how much daddy and mommy loves them, because the love and knowing that what love does, what it instills in them, it makes them know that they're not alone. No matter what's going on at school, friends that are coming and going, or people that are, attacking them from this way to way, maybe because the way they look or what their perception is of the family they come from and stuff like that. Just know that your love is at home, to give them that strength and confidence. So those are some things that I'll continue to do, because I know that's the foundation. Like, that's what actually keeps me going. Like, my love for my father keeps me going. Like, it's really what's behind my loyalty to him. No matter how, if we have bad days here and there, like, I'm loyal because I love him, and I love him also because of what he's done for me, and he's always been there for me. So, and my mom, the village, it really takes a village. My grandparents, great grandparents, aunts, cousins, all of them, everybody, is critically important to ensuring that the legacies are intact and will be successful in taking things to the next level.
Love. I think that's a great place to end, and I definitely agree with you. I grew up in a very loving household, and that was the most important thing that has ever happened to me, and the best thing that has ever happened to me as well. So, I think that's a great way to end our interview. Today, we've been talking with Michael V. Roberts Jr. Michael is the Senior Vice President of Roberts Companies, also the CEO and Principal Broker of I Realty Firm. Today, we've been talking about a lot of things, but specifically how to create generational wealth and legacy through commercial real estate here in the United States and abroad as well. So if you guys like this video, please go ahead and press the thumbs up button. Please make sure that you share this video and subscribe. There's a lot of powerful nuggets and gems that Michael shared, and it needs to be seen by everybody. Before we get out of here, I would also like to thank our corporate sponsor, theblackbusinessschool.com. And at the Black Business School, we don't just help you climb the corporate ladder, we help you build one as well. So what we do is help African Americans obtain a culturally relevant yet practical education in all things wealth building at a price they can afford. People come to us because they want one of three things in their life. They want additional freedom to spend time with their children, their family, to travel, those types of things. They want to build legacy like the Roberts family has done in their life for future generations to come, or they just want additional stability going into their golden retirement years as well. And we focus on helping you to achieve those goals through our three pillars of financial investing. So that is real estate investing, stock investing, and also small business entrepreneurship. So please head over to theblackbusinessschool.com. That is theblackbusinessschool.com to learn more. So on behalf of Michael V. Roberts Jr., my name is Lawrence Watkins. I am the President and Chief Operating Officer of the Black Business School. You guys take care, be blessed, and have a wonderful day. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.